The kingdom of God is within you, and the kingdom of God is within you, and the kingdom of God is within you, and the kingdom of God is within you. And those who are watching on internet, streaming, the kingdom of God is also within you. In fact, the kingdom of God is within everybody. All of us present here today, with no exception. And that's exactly what Jesus was saying. And if he was here today, that's what he would be saying, that the kingdom of God is within you. In fact, that's what he was saying during his time on earth. He spoke to the Jews. In Matthew 4:17, the kingdom of God is at hand. John 18:36, my kingdom is not of this world. In fact, when the Pharisees confronted Jesus and asked him when the kingdom of God would come, he was very direct with them. He said, the kingdom of God cometh not with observation. You can't know it through the mind. Neither lo here or lo there. You can't know it through the senses. Too refined. He said the kingdom of God is within you. But unfortunately, the Pharisees didn't take him seriously. They weren't ready for his higher teachings. In fact, listen to this one. Jesus had a lot of issues with the scribes and Pharisees, the Sadducees and Pharisees, but listen to this, what he said. He called them hypocrites, right? And had a lot of issues with them. But listen to this one. You shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. Neither do you go in yourself, nor suffering them that are entering to go within. That's Luke 23:13. What Jesus is telling us, or telling the Pharisees, is you're not going in yourself and to find that divine kingdom within yourself, but you're preventing others from doing it. In fact, the Pharisees weren't receptive, neither were the Jewish people in general to his higher teachings. That's why he only could talk to the masses in parables. Mainly, the people were interested in two things from Jesus and why they flocked around him: his miracles and his healings. But they weren't interested in his deeper teachings of how to know God, to experience God within oneself. Only to the disciples was he able to impart that knowledge, and a few others that were close to him. As it says in Matthew 13:11, to you it is given to know the kingdom of heaven, the glory of the kingdom of heaven, the mystery of the kingdom of heaven. But to them it is not given. And to Peter he said in Matthew 16:19, I'm giving you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. The keys to the kingdom of heaven. So how are we going to go within ourselves? How are we going to enter within ourselves? How can we do it to experience the kingdom of God that's right within us? Neither low here or low there, but right within us. St. Teresa of Avila is a great Christian mystic. She's been a real mentor for me. She's a 15th century mystic, contemporary St. John the Cross. And she said, the way for the soul to enter within itself is through prayer and meditation. And she insisted that prayer be accompanied by meditation. There's a definition between prayer and meditation. It's a good one. Prayer is talking to God. Meditation is listening to God. But I want to take that one step further from that definition. What meditation is learning those techniques, Peter's keys, those ways that we can enter right within ourselves. To create that stillness. Psalms 46:10, be still and know that I'm God. Be still and know that the kingdom of God is within you. is within you. If we take the example of a lake, and it's ruffled up, distorted through a storm, and there's waves, and it's in the evening, and the moon is reflected on the water, do you think we're going to see the reflection of the moon? No, it's distorted. We cannot see that pure reflection. But what happens when we can get our mind perfectly still through meditation? If we get that mind perfectly still, then we'll see the pure reflection of the moon of God's presence. But if the mind is restless through stress, anxiety, tension, fear, jealousy, anger, resentment, busyness, getting caught up with everyday busyness, we cannot create that lake of the mind that's calm, where we can see that pure reflection. God will be right there if we can learn how to still that mind. And that's what I teach through meditation, is how can we still that mind? It's the keys to learning the techniques, the ways to calm that mind. And then we can have direct personal communion with God. Not only we're praying to God, but we feel the presence of God as peace, as love, as joy, as bliss. These divine experiences that we can all have. We just have to make the effort in meditation to clear the mind, to calm the mind. Now, meditation is in our Christian roots. A lot of people don't understand that, but it is right there. Not so much in the New Testament, because Jesus was blocked by the Pharisees, as I was just giving you an example. So there's not much reference other than his quote of going within and entering within to find that kingdom. But if we look at the Old Testament, we can see that it was very much practiced in the Old Testament. Psalm 63:3. I remember you upon my bed and meditate upon you on the watches of the night. I remember you upon my bed and meditate upon you in the watches of the night. Psalms 119. Oh, how I love thy law is my meditation all the days. And here's one of my favorites. It's from Micah 7:8. I'll look upon the Lord. I will wait for the God of my salvation. My God hears me. When I sit in darkness, the Lord is a light unto me. So we can experience God as light in meditation. We can have that divine experience. So we're all craving for it. We're yearning for these things. We're yearning to have a direct experience of God, of Christ. And it's within. We got to take our consciousness within. Did Jesus meditate? You bet he did. Listen to this one, Mark 35:1. Very early in the morning, while it is still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, went off to a solitary place where he prayed and meditated. In Matthew 13:24, it was recorded that Jesus, when he left the disciples and the multitudes, he would go up into a mountain apart to pray. And when evening came, he was alone. In our passage today, we understand that Jesus would often take the disciples up to the mountain where he had the experience, and that one experience, of Elijah and Moses. But often he went alone, to be alone with God, to be alone in that divine stillness. So Luke takes it even one step further. He said, and this is from Luke 6:12. He said, in these days, Jesus went up into a mountain. And when evening came to pray, he prayed all night in prayer. All night in prayer. This is not a passing thing for Jesus. He would dedicate himself to deep, deep prayer and meditation. So I wanted today to just help you understand it. It's in the Christian roots. And early Christians practiced meditation because sometimes meditation is this taboo word. You know, it's unchristian, so many people think, but it's not. It's right in our roots. And it was practiced. And it was handed down from the apostles. In fact, the early church fathers, the desert fathers, would flock off into the desert because they wanted to be alone in solitude and prayer. But they came up with techniques, keys, where they understood how to meditate and go within. Jesus' prayer, for example, that they used. Pope Gregory, who's known for the Gregorian chants, he practiced Lectio Divina, as did early Christians, which means holy reading. But it wasn't to stop there. It was to lead to contemplation, but eventually to resting in God, creating that stillness. That's what we're craving. We're craving for that eternal stillness that we can experience within ourselves and realize who and what we really are, a soul made in that divine image, that we are a soul made in that divine image. And as being in the image of God, all that God is, all the attributes of spirit, we can experience as well. We are children of God. We can experience that within ourselves, as Jesus encouraged us to do, to go within. So I'm teaching a meditation course here. It starts next week on the 16th, so if you're interested in joining us. So we'll be covering a 5-week series, and during that series, too, I know sometimes it's hard to commit to a 5-week series. So if you have to miss a class, you can come early the next week, but I review all the material each class. So if you can join us, that would be great. So not only we're going to look at the spiritual value of meditation, but on a physical level as well, because there's so much stress in the world today. And in 1984 was sort of a landmark year for meditation, in one sense. People have been meditating for a long time. But in 1984, what the National Institute of Health issued a report, and what they recommended was meditation in conjunction with diet for the mild cases of hypertension over prescription drugs. The medical profession knows that meditation calms the body from stress, restlessness, anxiety. It lowers the heart rate, the pulse rate. Makes us a fit temple to receive that divine presence, that stillness. Also produces those joy-producing hormones, endorphins. It helps us to concentrate the mind, to make the mind single-pointed, because very often the mind is all over the place. But if we can concentrate the mind, then we can be more present for others, our work, and just be more accessible, more present, more focused. Be more mindful of the present moment, not caught off in the past or the future. Be focused on the present moment. Helps us to develop an even-mindedness. This world is a world of change. You cannot escape it. Up, down, light, shadow, pleasure, pain, joy, sorrow, life, death. It's a rule of opposites, a duality. Through meditation, we can experience that changeless presence within ourselves and move through a world of change in a state of peace and calmness, tranquility, because we found that changeless anchor within ourselves and can deal with a world of change and its ups and downs. Meditation also opens up the heart to love, the giving and receiving of love. Loving oneself. As a spiritual director, I'm convinced the biggest disease of humankind is lack of self-love and self-confidence. It's rampant. We need to, first of all, love ourselves. Then we can love others from that center and love our Creator, our source. So meditation helps us to fall in love with ourselves because we feel and realize what we really are. We're not just a restless being that's trying to cope in this world. We are divine. As I believe it's Peter talks about. It's 2 Peter. Partakers of the divine nature. That's what we were trying to do in meditation. Become partakers of the divine nature. And ultimately what meditation will do is union of the soul with spirit. If you read the mystics, Christian mystics, they all talk about that union. Spiritual marriage, as St. John the Cross talks about, St. Teresa of Avila. So union of the soul with spirit. That's the definition of yoga, by the way. Most people don't know that, but that's what yoga means. Union of the soul with spirit. So I know Paul was in the presbytery and we had more time because it was a longer period of time. It was an evening workshop. So I don't have time to do this now, but I would like to invite you, because it's such a short time I have to talk here, but I'd just like to invite you for just 2 minutes. Just close your eyes and just try to contemplate on these thoughts. The kingdom of God is within me. I can experience that stillness, that presence, and it's right within me. All you need to do is learn how to calm the mind and still the mind. But just hold on to that thought for now. Kingdom of God is within me. This church, this sanctuary is very beautiful, very peaceful here. So we take the time to tune into peace and feel that centeredness. So I hope you can join us for our meditation course. I'll be here later today, and if you have any questions about meditation or what I just presented to you, I'd be happy to answer any questions. But looking forward to meditating with you.